the language of scent, perfumes, colognes, and the art behind fragrance. Fragrance is one of the oldest forms of human expression. Long before fashion, and long before written language in many cases, people were already burning resins, blending oils, and trying to capture something invisible but powerful scent. Today we throw around words like perfume, cologne, eau de toilette, eau de parfum, but most people do not actually understand what separates them. And behind those labels is a history that stretches back thousands of years. The story of perfumery begins in ancient civilizations. Oils infused with myrrh, frankincense, and spices were used in religious ceremonies and burial rites. Scent was not just beauty, it was communication with the gods. The word perfume itself comes from the Latin perfumum, meaning through smoke. Early fragrance was literally created by burning materials so the scent would rise through the air. In ancient Mesopotamia, one of the first recorded chemists in history, a woman named Tapeti, was distilling flowers, oils, and resins using early forms of chemical extraction. This is essentially the foundation of modern perfumery. Later, the Greeks and Romans refined fragrance into daily life. Oils were worn on the body, used in baths, and applied after exercise. Scent became less sacred and more personal. But it was during the Islamic Golden Age where perfumery advanced dramatically. Distillation techniques were refined, especially through scholars like Avicenna, who improved the extraction of rose essence. These methods eventually spread into Europe and shaped the modern perfume industry. By the time of Renaissance France, perfumery had become an art form tied to royalty. Cities like Grasse became the global center of fragrance production and still are today. Today, when people say cologne, they usually mean a masculine fragrance. But technically, that is not what the word originally meant. Cologne comes from eau de cologne, a light citrus-based fragrance created in Cologne, Germany in the 1700s. It was designed to feel fresh, clean, and almost medicinal. But in modern perfumery, the real difference between fragrance types comes down to concentration. The amount of aromatic oils mixed with alcohol and water. Eau de cologne is the lightest major category. Typically contains around 2 to 5% fragrance oils. This makes it very fresh, very subtle, and very short-lived. It usually lasts a couple of hours at most. It is designed as a quick refresh rather than a long-lasting signature scent. Eau de toilette is where most everyday fragrances live. It usually contains around 5 to 15% fragrance concentration. This is the daily wear category for many people. It is noticeable without being overwhelming. And it usually lasts around 3 to 6 hours depending on skin chemistry and environment. The term toilette comes from the French phrase faire sa toilette, meaning the act of getting ready or grooming. Eau de parfum is a step up in intensity. Typically contains around 15 to 20% fragrance oils. This is where fragrances become more serious, more structured, and longer lasting. Often 6 to 10 hours or more, EDPs tend to emphasize depth, richer base notes, and more noticeable evolution over time. Now, parfum, also called extrait de parfum, is the highest concentration. It can range from 20% all the way up to 40% fragrance oils. This is the most intense, most long-lasting, and often most expensive form of fragrance. It tends to sit closer to the skin, but evolves slowly over time and can last 10 to 15 hours or more. These categories are not just about strength. They change how a fragrance behaves. Higher concentration often means deeper base notes, slower development, longer evolution on skin, and less alcohol sharpness. Lower concentration often means brighter opening, lighter feel, faster fade, and easier wear in heat or daytime environments. Most modern fragrances are built in layers called notes. Top notes are what you smell immediately. They are usually bright, volatile, and short-lived, such as citrus or light fruits. Middle notes form the identity of the fragrance. Florals, spices, and aromatics usually live here. Base notes are what remain long after everything else fades. Woods, musk, amber, vanilla, and resins. Fragrance is not static. It is a timeline. You are not smelling one thing. You are smelling a sequence that unfolds over time. Fragrance is often treated like a luxury accessory or finishing touch, but at its core, it is one of the most personal forms of identity we have. People remember scent more strongly than almost any other sense. It can trigger memory, emotion, nostalgia, and even attraction. And unlike clothing or language, Scent exists in a space you cannot fully control once it is released. It lingers, tells a story even after you have left the room. So when you see words like cologne, eau de toilette, or parfum, you are not just looking at marketing labels. You are looking at different philosophies of scent. Some are built to disappear quickly. Some are built to evolve slowly. Some are designed to be loud. Others are meant to stay close to the skin. But all of them come from the same idea that has existed for thousands of years. That smell is memory. It is emotion and identity, made invisible, but never forgettable.